When people think of brain aging, they often picture dementia. But long before that, the brain gives quieter signals. Most people miss these signs, unfortunately, or worse yet, are told they're normal. They are not normal. Watch to the end to learn what signals to look for and what to do about them to change the trajectory of your brain health. This is about early, subtle, changeable patterns, not diagnoses and certainly not fear. And the following are the signs that I see years, sometimes decades, before serious decline. As always, this video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice or create a doctor-patient relationship. Now, I would love to make clear that brain age, it depends how you define it, right? Every calendar year, our brain technically ages one more year, or 12 months. It's 12 months older every January 1st. But that's not to be confused with the epigenetic brain age or epigenetic age of your brain. When I say epigenetic, what does that actually mean? It really means, what is the current state of my brain? For example, at the time of this recording, I'm 46 years old. My brain is 46 years old. I can't do anything about that. I will never be able to do anything about that. But what I can do is I can get my brain to a state where it's running like that of a 25-year-old or my own 25-year-old brain. And hopefully it is not acting like a 53-year-old brain. And so that is what I mean by epigenetic brain age. It's really, where are you at currently? So what I'm looking at when I talk about epigenetic brain age, I'm looking at your reduced adaptability, resilience, brain reserve. Aging is not binary. It is a trajectory, and that trajectory can change. It can go up and down. It can go improving. It can decline. The goal is not about perfection. Again, it's about changing the trajectory. And make no mistake, the brain can compensate extremely well until it can't. Early signs of brain aging especially appear during stress, multitasking, or when we're fatigued for other reasons. That can really be when these brain symptoms show up. And conventional medicine almost always intervenes too late. Pretty much always does, which is sad and super unnecessary. And I want to make it clear that the signs of epigenetic brain aging really stem from 5 main causes of disease or of symptoms or poor epigenetic brain aging. And really, out of those 5, it really is the first 2 that cause the following 3. So the first 2 cause the last 3 out of these 5 causes that I'm going to list. So the first 2 main drivers, deficiencies of nutrients and or toxicities of also nutrients or of toxins. So deficiencies and toxicities. Those are the main 2 drivers of everything in our body, of all symptoms and disease states. Now, those 2 drive 3 main issues. Inflammation, typically chronic inflammation, is what causes chronic poor epigenetic aging, metabolic imbalance, and energy strain. Energy, I will often refer to as the mitochondrial strain. And I want to just throw it out there because I've mentioned before, others say that the reason we breathe air or oxygen and eat food is so that our mitochondria can create ATP, which is the currency of energy in our body. I would like to add on that hugely underestimated, and yet just as important as oxygen and food, are the quality of water inside of our cells, especially for the mitochondrial sake, and the frequency of light or sunlight. Sunlight emits hundreds and actually thousands of different healing frequencies from it. And sun gets a bad rap in mainstream medicine. However, every one of those frequencies is a healing medicine sent from the sun to our mitochondria to enhance our energy production. And when our body has enough energy being made by the mitochondria, it gives our body the ability to heal itself. gives a body the ability to improve our epigenetic brain age. Now, 4 early signs of brain aging. Number 1, reduced mental stamina. And now, what does that look like? You might fade mentally earlier in the day. Multitasking feels exhausting. Decision fatigue hits faster than it used to. And those really suggest that there's a strain on energy production or poor metabolic flexibility or an inflammatory overload. And to use a metaphor, it's like a battery that no longer holds a full charge. Sign number 2, subtle memory and word finding issues. What does that look like? It seems kind of self-explanatory, but to make it more clear, it might be names on the tip of your tongue, could be losing your train of thought mid-sentence, could be slower recall under pressure. So when you're feeling stressed, it's harder to recall things. And again, this is not dementia. It doesn't mean you have dementia. It's oftentimes just a signal-to-noise problem, not true memory loss. It's like a computer that has too many tabs open in Safari or Google Chrome or Firefox. Too many tabs, suddenly your computer starts not working as quickly. And for those underlying themes that can cause that, again, inflammation, metabolic imbalance, which has to do with glucose or blood sugar instability, and energy imbalance, which could lead to a neurotransmitter imbalance, for example. Now, sign number 3, a lower stress tolerance. And what does that look like? Things bother you more than they used to, or there's a slower recovery after stress. In other words, you go through a really stressful situation, then you're just wiped out afterwards. But you should find that resilience, that bounce back quickly. So if that's lengthening, that time to bouncing back lengthens, that's a sign. Or you could be feeling wired but tired. Now, those could reflect a brain-body communication breakdown. It could reflect a hormonal or autonomic nervous system strain. It could reflect reduced resilience, and especially the adrenal brain axis, like a disequilibrium between those two. So stress intolerance is often a brain energy issue, not a personality issue or true dementia. Sign number 4, brain fog despite doing all the right things. You could be eating a clean diet. You could be exercising well. You could be taking some really expensive, nice supplements, or some really crappy supplements, which is more commonly the case. Your labs could be normal. That just means you're not getting the right labs done, though. And you could be still foggy despite doing all of those right things. And again, I just want to highlight, if your labs are normal, everything, and you were told everything is fine, but you're feeling these symptoms, you're not fine. There needs to be more discovery. And again, reference ranges on like standard lab tests are not always equivalent to optimal reference ranges and do not represent optimal function, because these early dysfunction does not always show up on standard labs. And the brain is often the first system to notice any imbalance. Now, if any of this thinking about brain health is helpful, feel free to subscribe. I do share how I approach longevity and clarity without overwhelm in my videos. What actually helps? Understanding patterns, not chasing symptoms. Reducing inflammatory and metabolic load definitely helps. Supporting brain energy production helps. And an individualized evaluation over generic solutions is almost always the answer. Again, this is not about one supplement, one peptide, one lifestyle change, because changing trajectory requires understanding how systems interact, not just optimizing one variable. So ideally, you would notice subtle changes, want to take sharp. Ideally, you would notice subtle changes, want to stay sharp and independent, think long-term, and value clarity over shortcuts. You don't have to be sick to pay attention to this. Early awareness is probably one of your greatest strengths in this situation. So to summarize, these signs are common, they are meaningful, they are changeable, and I really emphasize that they are changeable. For me, understanding this changed not just how I think about brain health, but how I practice medicine as a whole. And in the next video, I share how my father's illness reshaped my entire approach to medicine and healing. If this resonated, I think you'll find that next video meaningful.